Northlands College. Our score, the Edmonton Oilers leading the Philadelphia Flyers 2. Curry and Marty Milley for Edmonton, and late in the period, Rick Tocchet got the Flyers on the board. Philadelphia trailed. It was a lot better for them at the end of one period than it looked like it would be midway through. Ron Hextall has really held them in the game. I'm Tom Mees in our ESPN Road to the Cup studios, and joining me now, it's a pleasure to welcome the president of the National Hockey League, Mr. John Ziegler. John, a pleasure to see you as always. Welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Pleasure to be here.
I want to bring up a few items that may be on the agenda when the draft is held in Detroit in June and when the owners get together. And the first thing I want to talk about, and we've heard this, and I get mail from across the country, areas like Dallas, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, where they still have a very active Atlanta Flames fan club. Expansion. We hear about it in a lot of sports. What is the position now of the NHL in future expansion?
Well, right now, our board's position is that we are not considering expansion. We have a subcommittee which is looking at the league internally to see financially how we are, what our player strength might be. We have some internal legislation to get behind us with respect to television before I think we can really even start looking outside of the league as to expansion. So our position is that at the present time we're not looking at expansion. But we're really glad to have the interest from Dallas and from Milwaukee and from San Francisco and Seattle and all those places. Yes, that's great. And I think partly because of ESPN.
Well, we would certainly like to think so. I got an awful lot of mail also, especially from fans in the Norris division saying, what's this we hear about maybe some playoff restructuring? This seems to come up every year at the owners' meetings. And I guess the latest in vogue idea, John, is to take, all right, take 16 teams, but take the top 8 from each conference and seed them 1 through 8 so that the guy who finishes below 500 cannot have home ice advantage. What do you think might happen this year?
There'll be a lot of debate when that comes. That's not a new idea. That was on the table when we adopted the present format. Usually at this meeting or in December, we get some initiative to reconsider the playoff format. As I say, it usually comes from somebody who is lost or their ox has been gored and they have a new way to try to get the silverware.
Now, the Canada Cup, of course, the new hockey season, regular season begins in October, but later this summer, the Canada Cup. Right now, what is the NHL's position as the Canada Cup gets set to go, I believe, in late August?
Well, they start reporting in early August to players, so it's going to be a short summer for the star players. First of all, for those who may not know, Tom, the Canada Cup brings together the players from their different countries to play for their national teams. It's the only hockey competition where the players can play for their country. Wayne Gretzky will be playing for Canada, and the best U.S. players will be playing for the U.S. team, and the Finnish boys will be playing for their team. Yes, Jerry Curry and so on. Now, it's a play down until they get to the Final Four, and then they get to the Final Two, and they play for the Canada Cup. It has usually been Canada versus the Soviet Union for the finals, and they've been great hockey. And this year there's going to be some games in Hartford. I think there's going to be some games in the United States, and that's going to be something new for the Canada Cup. Our participation is that we supply the players, we supply coaches, we supply managers, and we do this in partnership with the Players Association.
John, as always, thank you for stopping by. It's been another banner year for the NHL. What is it, 6 years in a row now? Your regular season attendance has gone up and broken records?
Yes, sir. We had another record year.
All right.
Very proud of that.
Thanks for being with us here on ESPN tonight. After one period from the Northlands Coliseum at Edmonton, it's the Oilers 2, the Flyers 1. We'll be back with more from the Edmonton Oilers home ice here, the Northlands Coliseum, in just a moment.
Every day, America's banks handle at least $25 billion, a certain amount of which will find its way into your pocket. The question is, what will you do with it once it's there? Well, the Wall Street Journal has some pretty shrewd thoughts on the subject. Each day, the Journal brings you a wealth of information about investing, saving, taxes, real estate, in fact, the whole spectrum of personal money management, as well as a concise digest of business news that could help bring you more money to manage. All in all, a subscription to the Wall Street Journal is a necessity for anyone with an interest in money. Because while there's plenty of it around, unfortunately, it doesn't come with instructions.
Call 800-372-3000 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.75. Phone 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
You don't just watch an NHL game, you feel it. Feel the power. this fall to ESPN. The best of the NFL. From preseason contests to 8 Sunday night clashes and the season finale Pro Bowl, you'll see it all live on ESPN. From start to finish this year, pro football duels here on the exclusive cable home of the NFL, ESPN.
Welcome back to our studios in Edmonton, everyone. I'm Tom Mees on the road to the Cup. Edmonton really dominated that first period of play, even though the score is only 2-1. You don't believe me? Look at some of the stats we have for you, some key statistics, and pay attention to quality shots. Almost 2-1 in favor of the Oilers. Ron Hextall was the key holding Philadelphia in this game. The total shots are equal, but Edmonton has had their way in center ice. Flyers are sagging at the blue line, and Edmonton has had a lot of chances on Ron Hextall. Philadelphia has been out hitting Edmonton by a big margin, 30-19. The turnovers, also more turnovers by the Edmonton Oilers. But look at the offside. No offsides in this hockey game, and that would reflect a more wide-open style of play, and that is certainly to the advantage of the Edmonton Oilers. There's no doubt that as far as the quality of play and the territorial play, Edmonton has been all over the Philadelphia Flyers in this period. But after one, it's 2-1 Edmonton, and I'll be right back with the Bud Light scoreboard.
From the investor's point of view, with Charles Schwab.
I started Charles Schwab and Company from the investor's point of view. So at Schwab, you get big discounts and fast trades. And here's what I mean by fast.
Just a minute. I want to call my broker before the market closes. Because I invest with Charles Schwab, I can buy and sell stocks just like that. Listen.
Charles Schwab.
This is Sue Haynes, account 864555. I'd like to buy 300 shares of Mega at the market.
Mega's at 10. I'm entering your order to buy 300 shares at market. If you'd like to wait, I'll confirm.
Great.
300 shares of Mega is yours at 10. Anything else?
That's it. Thanks. See?
I'm Charles Schwab, and that's what I call fast, from the investor's point of view.
If fast trades and big discounts make sense to you, call for your free booklet, What a Discount Broker Can Do for You. Call now, 800-445-4700, toll free. That's 800-445-4700.
Time now for another edition of the Bud Light scoreboard. Between periods here from Edmonton, the Oilers lead at 2-1. They got the first 2 goals of the period, and let's look at the Bud Light scoreboard now. In retrospect, Jari Kurri, a couple of angles of this first goal. Now, this is on the power play just seconds after Dave Brown went into the box, and the Oilers control the puck at the blue line. Randy Gregg throws it over to Krushelnyski. He's looking, and Jari Kurri has a lot of time to just pick out a spot on Ron Hextall. Now, again, Kurri with the puck on his stick, Ron Sutter without his stick, and look at McCrimmon, and also another Edmonton Oiler providing a perfect screen in front of Hextall. That hit the inside of the post and went in. Now, Marty McSorley's goal made it 2-0, but you know this guy, Wayne Gretzky, wheeling and dealing at center ice. See how Philadelphia sags in, and Gretzky's able to carry in unmolested into the zone. He's shooting a lot more tonight than he has in any of the playoff games. Takes the shot. He knew that was his best option, as Bill Clement pointed out. As the puck is loose in front, McSorley making the kind of play that, well, the players like Marty McSorley make, crashing the goal and knocking it in. Again, you put yourself in Ron Hextall's pads here. What are you going to do? You're trying to grab for the puck, and McSorley somehow got a piece of wood on it, and he and the rest of the Edmonton Oilers celebrate on the bench. Now the Philadelphia goal that got them back in by Rick Tocchet. This is a typical Flyer goal, crashing the net, pile up in front. The shot taken by Pelle Eklund comes in back to Brian Propp. Propp in front, and Tocchet standing on the doorstep. Let's take a closer look at it. Eklund throws in the first shot. Pure somehow got to that. Now Propp behind the net, looking to center, decides to come around and throw it in the crease, and all alone was Rick Tocchet as he got it by Grant Fuhr. So after 1 period of play, on the Bud Light scoreboard, it reads the Edmonton Oilers 2, the Philadelphia Flyers 1. Edmonton wins tonight. They win their 3rd cup in 4 years. The Flyers are trying to stay alive. Back in a moment.
Who's that? The life of the party, that's who.
There's a super party animal. His name is Bud McKenzie. When the sun shines bright on a cold Bud Light, he's in a party frenzy.
He's Bud McKenzie, the posh pooch of pop culture.
Go, Bud, go.
Bud, you're an animal.
Go, Bud, go, go.
One word distinguishes the American Express card from the others. Member.
I hear the choreography.
To us, Mr. Ryan is a member.
So excited.
And at American Express, our card members are entitled to a world of privileges.
We lost our card, our cash.
Even our passport. You've come to the right place. I can help you.
That's great.
Let's play. We stayed an extra day.
I'm glad we have the American Express card. She's so lovely.
This reminds me of you.
Members carry our promise of respect, recognition, unsurpassed personal service. Membership has its privileges. To apply for membership, look for this display and take one.
NASCAR's most daring champion. Dale Earnhardt puts his winning record and his reputation on the line in the challenging Budweiser 500. Live Sunday at noon Eastern on ESPN.
The road to the Cup, the Stanley Cup Finals on ESPN, brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. And by Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just delight. The Flyers and Oilers are warming up for the second period. Let's warm up now with Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Score of the game is 2-1 Edmonton, and Yari Curry only required 2:58 to get his team the first goal in the game. Greg and Krushelnyski assisting, then McSorley with his third of the playoffs from Gretzky at 6:39, Tocchet from Propp and Eklund at 19:10, shots even at 16. Bill, one of the things you said that the Flyers needed was a physical presence, and I noticed Tom Mee's stats showed that they out-hit Edmonton 30-19.
Well, it's misleading to a degree, Mike, because a lot of those hits were in the defensive zone because Edmonton dominated territorially. Quality chances, too, was a problem for the Flyers in the first period. They gave Edmonton 13. There's the game 3 totals. The only game that Philadelphia won in the series is the only game that they had more quality shots, 15-9. And look at the shots per goal. 8.36 for the Flyers, 12.90 for the Oilers. And if I'm not mistaken, those numbers, I think, should be reversed. I believe it's the Oilers that have scored on every 8.36 shots, and the Flyers every 12.90. And that tells you about the quality snipers that Edmonton has, and it also tells you that they've been getting more quality shots.
Well, that sign may be 2 periods early. Then again, it might be 2 days early. Or 5 days early. We'll see. Underway, period 2. The Craven line opposite that of Messier. Puck laid back in by Muni. Marsh striding back for it, and Hextall clears it back around. It skips back to Muni. Nearly put it into Craven. Anderson a shot wide. Messier has Nielsen in front. Forced off by Brad Marsh. And Craven taps across for the play to be made by Sinisalo. Spun back down, and they say Muni couldn't have played, that it would be icing, but that's canceled because Grant Fuhr, the goalie, handles it, then has to handle that shot by Marsh. Glenn Anderson for the Oilers, banks it off to Nielsen, pestered by Sinisalo, connects with Messier. Breaking is Anderson, the shot into the pad of Hextall. Anderson can't get to it because of the checking of Marsh, but comes right back. Spun out by Nielsen, but no one there except Sinisalo. Moves back out with Derek Smith and Craven. It's a 3-on-3. Sinisalo over to Derek Smith. Can't get it back to him because of Gregg. Taking some whacks is Nielsen. The whacks are coming from Derek Smith. Puck dropped to Gretzky. Swirls one in front that's gathered in by Mellanby. Mellanby hook check and stripped to the puck by Tikkanen. Right there is McCrimmon, but on with it comes Randy Gregg. Gregg fed one off Howe wide. Mark Howe for Philadelphia in a period that would cause some concern, really, to both coaching staffs, the way it's been played so far. Curry connects with Gretzky. Drive held by Hextall.
You can tell 99 is hungry. The more he shoots, I've always found that as a good barometer for how prepared Wayne Gretzky is to play a real strong hockey game. And he weighs his opportunities here. There aren't that many. Curry is being covered out of the picture. So he just winds up and uses Brad McCrimmon as a screen. Drives it right into Hextall. But when Gretzky is shooting, to me, that's a sign that he's hungry.
A supplementary motivation to Gretzky, not only, of course, winning the championship here in front of the home fans, which they've done in the 2 previous occasions. But his Achilles heel is he absolutely hates to fly. And if it goes one more game, he's got to fly 2,500 miles or so back to Philadelphia.
Good point.
He once said, if I had all the money in the world, I'd buy all the airlines and close them down.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to take the train at this stage of the playoffs.
Bruce Omiski and Ron Sutter for the faceoff. And it's back to Huddy. Hammers one, score!
It went off someone. Charlie Huddy shot it. And it definitely deflected because Ron Hextall stood watching it. Let's see who tipped it. Was it Marty McSorley again coming in front of Hextall? It sure looked like it. Once again, a face-off in the offensive zone. Krushelnyski to Puzar. Back to Charlie Huddy. You can see the puck wobbling now, and it wasn't before. No question, Hextall was going for an easy save. Whoop. That's exactly who it is. Marty McSorley.
Second goal of the game. 4th of the playoffs for McSorley. Krushelnyski and Huddy get the assist at 1:32. Wonder what difference this one will make. It is rolled off to Pozar. Able to break free from the check. Throws it back over to McSorley. And a change now. Huddy and Pozar get credit for the assist on McSorley's goal. Down goes Eklund. Kropp tries to turn it away. McCrimmon, but it's chopped further. 17:45 to go, second period. 3-1 the Oilers ahead. Eklund moving, has to turn from Coffey. Puck given up to McSorley. And it's slid back where Daigneault must play. Daigneault and Crossman, the defense combination for Philadelphia. On with it comes Doug Crossman. Fakes, then shoots off Coffey's stick. It's wide. Huddy guides, taken by Curry. Flex spurring at Crossman, but Gretzky turns away. Gretzky brushes it ahead, and it's there for a shot by Tikkanen, saved by Hextall. Curry tries to get it to Tikkanen and does. Then around to Gretzky. Has a man set up, but can't get it through Crossman. Curry feeds. Tikkanen can't control. Raven for Philadelphia on the front. Barreled into by Muni. And a stoppage of play as Ron Finn is pointing. An offside call.
What a force Muni's been. That's his 3rd big hit. The neutral zone hits. He's caught 3 flyers by surprise. Sutter was one. That time it was Kropp. Just crushed him into the boards.
17:5:02. That means that 384 are standing all the time. The rest are standing a lot of the time.
One more look at the goal. Krushelnyski against Ron Sutter. And he had help from Puzar, but Puzar was positioned perfectly. Krushelnyski lines up his own men, and Puzar was lined up exactly where Krushelnyski ended up getting on the puck.
Gretzky will stride back to get this one. Takes it from Grant Fuhr and wheels. Craven moved on him, and the play is made to Muni. Muni connects with Tikkanen, but it's dropped to Curry. Reconnects with Tikkanen. Samuelson moving in on him. Pokes it away and then wraps him up behind. Daigneault making the play there. Drops one that Derek Smith didn't see. And the puck chipped out of play at the Oiler bench. And now Smith and Ruotsalainen talking, but they break away. The score of the game from the Northlands Coliseum. Oilers 3 and the Flyers 1.
Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,600. Everything you thought came only in an import is now born in America. 47 standard features, quality backed by a new 7-year or 70,000-mile protection plan. Plymouth Sundance.
Born in America.
Now get 3.7% financing or $500 cash back on Plymouth Sundance.
Center ice face-off the result. Ron Finn to put it in play between McTavish and Zezel. And it is Doug Crossman. Crossman swinging it ahead. Zezel goes down on the lean of McTavish. The play made to Brad Marsh. Curry once, McSorley twice. A play made for Zezel. Those are the Oiler goals. The lone Philadelphia goal late in the first by Tocchet. McClellan hooked off by Dave Brown. Still spins one ahead, but the play is offside.
Greg Muni with the beard. What a find he was for the Edmonton Oilers. And here is his crunch on Brian Propp. That's as blind as you're going to get, as blindsided as you can be. Propp is pulling it off the boards on his forehand. Greg Muni just left him right there in a heap. That's a key now. Key for the Oilers. Guys like Muni take it to the Flyers. Any chance they get is 3-1. Show them that we have the scent and that we have that killer instinct. And the more we can hit them, no, that's their thing. Every chance we get, hit them. Show them they're not going to get it.
Anderson nearly got through. Shot! Oh, and again. Nielsen is checking his leg for bang mark. Anderson turns in front. Swings it wide. Crossman back for Philadelphia. Advances it to Brad Mars. And Mars lays it off for Eklund. Eklund fluffs one in front that's just a prayer, and Propp has it. Propp in front, shuts it away. That was Grant Pure getting a piece of it. Tocchet ties up with Ruotsalainen as they go bumping for the puck, but ahead is Anderson. Up the wing now for Messier. Messier with a shot that's blocked off by the defense. Loose one is swept away by Crossman and highlight down by Propp. He got a high stick on it to stop the clock. Thundering ovation here. It's still 3-1 Oilers.
Waiter, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name and taste. Because everything else is just a light.
Your face takes enough abuse, so Gillette introduces the new Good News Plus disposable. Its Luber Smooth strip is designed to reduce irritation, so shaving feels so good. New Good News Plus.
Well, Mr. Hextall in this period has faced 4 shots, and at the other end, Grant Pure has seen just 1. But one of the 4 shots by the Oilers has gone in. And Glenn Sather watches from the bench. His team on the verge of a 3rd Stanley Cup. 15-12 to go, second period. Oilers up by 2. Puck fed over for Pozar. Brad McCrimmon ties him up. And along it is Krushelnyski. Craven moving and then watching. And Don Koharski patiently waited, then blew the whistle.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the Flyers can get down into the other end and establish their forechecking game. They haven't been able to. That's one of the reasons why the Flyers, I think, out-hit the Oilers in the first period, is that the Oilers and guys like Marty McSorley were all over them. And the kind of hits that the Flyers had weren't hits that I think they could really benefit from as far as forechecking and smashing the Edmonton Oilers defensemen around in their end. Time of possession in the first period in the offensive zone. The Oilers were in the Flyers zone 7 minutes and 22 seconds total in the first. The Flyers were only in the Oilers zone 1 minute and 53 seconds out of 20 in that first period.
In the prior 2 cups, only half of the Oiler team was its own draft. The rest were acquisitions that Glenn Sather made, and you've just seen another in Marty McSorley. Puck punched away by Samuelson. Brushed in front by Curry, but Brad Marsh was there. Coffey lays it across to Charlie Huddy. 14:45, left period 2. Score of the game, 3-1 Edmonton. Score of the series, 3-1 Edmonton. Curry turning, hammers one around, gets away from the chop of Hextall. Sinisato cleared it into Gretzky, so Samuelson has to play. Off Curry to Coffey, in front. With it is Gretzky. Has to go further, and then off Curry, it's shanked wide. Tikkanen gives back to Huddy. His hurried shot is deflected into the seats, and so again, play is stopped. Mike Keenan grimly watching from the Philadelphia bench. This is his 99th playoff game. The franchise is also enjoying its 99th playoff game tonight.
Tells you how many games Wayne Gretzky's missed in the playoffs. and he's only missed 8 games in 8 regular seasons. That tells you how durable a little guy is. He's a wisp of a fellow. See him in a short-sleeve shirt yesterday being interviewed, and you can't imagine that he has dominated this sport so profoundly and so completely. When you look at him, you expect to see some kind of physical dynamo. He's not that way at all. He looks like a guy that's getting ready to go off to college on a golf scholarship.
Now, they list him at 6 feet 170. What do you guess?
I guess he might be a little under 6 feet, and right about this time of year, 160, maybe 158.
Down on the play goes Mellenby. Play continues, and hurrying it along is Krushelnyski, but it's kept for a drive that's blocked off. Turning with it is McSorley. Forechecking is Scott Mellenby for Philadelphia. Then it's McSorley to Pozar and angled back. Lindsey Carson pursued by McSorley. Carson turns away, but into Krushelnyski. Now McSorley with a shot turned away. McSorley angling for the hat trick. Around it rolled to Ron Sutter. Didn't get much of the McSorley check. McCrimmon, and back out now comes Philadelphia. On with it is Howe. Howe has Mellenby, but is surrounded by Oilers. Mark Howe continues along the blue line, just ran out of room, and here's McClellan stepping in for the Oilers. McClellan sends one into Hextall. Dashing to it is McTavish. It's cleared off him by McCrimmon. Mark Howe has it tapped away, but right, fortunately for Philadelphia, it's to Mellenby, then to Zezel. Crosses near Randy Gray. Tries to get through. Shuffles one over for Propp. Screened by the referee, and it is Crossman sending it wide. Zezel tries to feed in front, and it's on Fuhr. McClellan turns for the Oilers. Chased off by Propp, but the puck brought out by McTavish. Moving on, Brad Marsh. Dips it to Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen right into the pad of Hextall. Crossman around to Zezel with 12:45 to go in the second. It's still 3-1 Edmonton. Randy Gregg, that one bounced to Propp, who's in wide with the shot. Oh, and that was a big chance for Philadelphia. Crossman to play, matched up with Marsh on defense, who's busy holding off the forechecking Anderson, so the play is made through to Tocchet. Then to Eklund, backhander kicked right out by Fuhr. Anderson can't clear. Moving to it is Eklund for Propp, and coming by Messier, but Propp has it and trickled one wide. Nielsen rolls it, but Propp takes this time. It's Coffey in the way. Charlie Huddy and a 3-on-2. Given over to Anderson. Drops it to Nielsen. Couldn't get the shot away. Was checked down by Tocchet, and a chance here. Propp with a 2-on-2. Now it's a 4-on-2. Brian Propp to Crossman. Score! Doc Crossman, and the Flyers are back to within one.
This game never ceases to amaze me. Ken Nilsson tries a play that he shouldn't have at the blue line and loses it. 4-on-2. What a great play Brad Marsh makes, number 8, by going through the middle to draw some of the traffic back towards the net. There goes Marsh at the top. Here comes Crossman. He's trying to make amends for a play that happened right about where he's standing back here in Game 2 when Anderson pushed him and came in and tied the score, and then the Oilers went on to win. What a huge goal by Doug Crossman. And I can't help but go back to Terry Simpson's description of his New York Islanders team in the playoffs. It's sort of like a sport. You can push us under the water, and we keep bouncing up somehow. And, you know, the Flyers have seemed to be able to do that time and time again. And once again, the cork-like Philadelphia Flyers have kind of bobbed to the surface.
Propp gets the only assist on this break of water. Crossman, his 4th playoff goal. Oilers have the Gretzky line out, but it's Murray Craven. Goes down on the hook check of Gretzky. Play followed up by Howe. Eklund also gets an assist on the Crossman goal with Brian Propp, and it came at 8:08. Kevin Lowe turning. Muffled off by Derek Smith, but it's dropped to Muni. Connects back up with Tikkanen, who just bumps it ahead to Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky watching Crossman play offside. 11 minutes even to go in the second. On the goal by Crossman, it is Philadelphia trailing by 1, 3-2.
Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,600. Everything you thought came only in an import is now born in America. 47 standard features, quality backed by a new 7-year or 70,000-mile protection plan. Plymouth Sundance.
Born in America.
Now get 3.7% financing or $500 cash back on Plymouth Sundance.
There's the score, and you know, the goal by Doug Crossman might have just done something more than draw the Philadelphia Flyers to within one. Doug Crossman, noticeably to everyone who has watched this series, really struggled after Glenn Anderson beat him one-on-one. It was very difficult for him emotionally to recover. There was a shot of him. This just might be the thing that a guy like Doug Crossman needs to get his head back on track and do some positive things. Let's face it, now's the time for him to do them.
Hextall glasses it. Muni fires it. And that one bounced loose. It was tangled in Daigneault, and then Rod Sutter tries to get ahead, pumped by Muni, along for the clear-in by Krushelnyski. And Crossman turns to take it. Has a man in stride, Mellanby, and the pass is on his stick. Gregg sizing him up, takes him right out of the play. Ruotsalainen for Edmonton with 10:25 left in the second period. The difference is one. Oilers leading 3-2. McTavish steps in. Quick shot is knocked down by Hextall, cleared by Crossman, kept by Gregg. Tried to jank one in front, but that's caromed and is taken by Lindsey Carson. Carson across to Mellanby. Offside is called. The score of the game from the Northlands Coliseum. That man, Randy Gregg's team 3, the Philadelphia Flyers 2.
What's happening? The world-famous MetLife representative is adding new recruits to his prompt payment squadron. You mean the one that makes sure MetLife claim checks get delivered promptly? Yes, it's very important. Snoopy is really getting tough with his new recruits, isn't he? Only the best will do for MetLife customers. What happens to the birds who don't make it into the prompt payment squadron? They go into advertising. Get Met. It pays.
11 bells on the East Coast, 9 bells here, 5 goals scored, 3-2 Philadelphia leading with Bill Clement and Tom Mees. Mike Emmerich from the Northlands Coliseum. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers leading the series 3-1. Here is Messier. Chipping it back around, Brian Propp able to flip it, but Nielsen controls back in, and play continues, as with it is McCrimmon. McCrimmon flops ahead now, and it is Brian Propp on. Oilers ahead in this game by a count of 3-2. Play made, and turning with it is Messier, and we had a delayed offside that is now whistled down. Kelly Eklund has assisted on both Philadelphia goals. Propp's assist gives him 14 points in the last 8 road games. But keeps the action going so you can enjoy Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Hamilton, New York to Lincoln, Nebraska. Tyler, Texas to Jackson, Michigan. Chief executives to chiefs of your own castle. For all that all of you do, this bud's for you as we see the Philadelphia bench. Halfway through regulation time. The first period, in case you're just joining us, there was dominance by the Oilers. That late first period goal by Tocchet drew Philadelphia to within 1. And as Bill mentioned, the cork was pushed down but came back up again. Both teams have scored here in the second, and it is 3-2 Edmonton as Randy Gregg, the medical doctor, plays ahead now to Jari Kurri. Kurri stepping on Brad Mars. Play made through to Tikkanen. Tikkanen able to escape Samuelsson, but no room behind. Now tries to work in front, and Samuelsson starts it back for Philadelphia. The big defenseman gives it to Poulin, who pokes it through Ruotsalainen. Fuhr watching is coming by to wheel it as Gregg. Right to Zezel. Zezel feeds one in front. That pumped away by Fuhr. It is Mars turning. Help came from Dave Brown. Brown quickly across to Zezel. Back to Samuelsson. Drive deflected to the seats by Gregg, and all the way up into the second tier.
You know, we had a shot a few seconds ago on the Flyers bench, and there was a lot of movement. I was noticing agitation and just helmets moving back and forth, guys wiping their faces. To me, that's a sign of life. A defeated bench is a quiet bench. There's never any movement on it. And when we get shots of the bench, try and check to see if the Flyers are moving. See how many bodies, hands you can see moving, guys communicating with one another. To me, that's always a sign that positive things still remain in their heads, and they certainly haven't resigned themselves to defeat. If the game gets out of hand, we'll see a team lose at the end of a game, and you get shots of the losing bench, still very quiet, very calm. Flyers were very, very mobile at that shot we had. They were moving.
Here's McClellan as McTavish tries a stopper, and Hextall shuts him off. The score of the game here at the Northlands Coliseum is still the Oilers 3, the Flyers 2.
Plymouth Voyager gives America a powerful new reason why the pride is back. Front-wheel drive V6 power, fuel-injected power, power to climb, to pass, to carry, to move you. And quality backed by a new 7-year or 70,000-mile protection plan. Plymouth Voyager V6.
The pride is back, born in America again.
Game 115 for the Flyers, 110 for the Oilers. And in the playoffs, this is Fuhr's 16th straight start, and Ron Hextall's 24th. As you see Murray Craven. Gee, the rehabilitation and recovery from injury is so fast. You can be back playing. Ed Hostadar was saying, had that shoulder operation. It'll take 6 weeks. He had knee operations in the old days that would require twice as much time to heal as they do now. Here's Dave Hunter, brushed off. Puck comes to Hextall, swings it back around, and it's through Charlie Huddy, who took the hit from Derek Smith. Down to get it is Coffey, drops one off to Hunter. Hunter just plops one back that McTavish will have. Murray Craven puts the hook into it, but McTavish moves further. Shot is wide, and then it's knocked away by Crossman. Preliminary signal was played with a high stick, but because the Oilers got the puck, no whistle was blown. Crossman takes over this time with a stick much lower to Sinisalo, then to Craven. Oh, and he saw that hit coming from Anderson. On now is Sinisalo, able to get by Messier, but the puck skips by after he took the chop, and this will cost the Oilers a couple. And Philadelphia, trailing by 1, has a power play and a chance to knock the game. It's 3-2 Edmonton.
Light fighters, the new light infantry. No matter where you are, in the jungle, the Arctic, the desert, or the mountains, you run out of day before you run out of challenge.
You know, all this talk about building your confidence might sound like a lot of hype. Let me tell you, hype doesn't get you to the top of this rock.
Be all that you can be.
Hey, Gal.
What?
The elevator's here.
Find your future in the Army.
What a head of steam Ilka Sinisalo had coming through the neutral zone, and Mark Messier was caught completely flat-footed. Here comes Sinisalo. You'll see Messier is stationary. He's not moving back at all, so he takes a big swipe at him, knocks the stick right out of his hands. See how Messier is not moving? He can't defend against Sinisalo at all. His best shot is to try and get a piece of his body and hope that Koharski doesn't call a penalty.
Kropp has trouble handling Gretzky on his case, and it's cleared. The Oilers have allowed only 7 power play goals in their last 17 games. In this series, Philadelphia is 3 for 16. Racing with it is Eklund. Breezes right by Curry, then flings it in. Fuhr watches as Muni is there to play. Along for Curry, but Cockett kicks it to Eklund. Eklund points it on back for Kropp. His shot blocked off by Fuhr. Another shot blocked. Another shot. They score! Pelle Eklund, game tied at 3.
The cork has bobbed to the surface. Pelle Eklund, who was such an offensive powerhouse against Montreal and hasn't been as visible, but he's pecked away and pecked away. Here he is dumping it in, and it's only through the determination of pursuit by Eklund, and Tocchet went right to the boards. What an excellent play. What an excellent read by Rick Tocchet to go right to the boards, and then Eklund back to Propp. Eklund one shot. His rebound, Lowe might have gotten the first one, but bodies sprawled everywhere. And Rick Tocchet, you got to go back to the thinking man's play that Tocchet made. See Lowe going down, Fuhr went down as well. If Fuhr at least stands up, if one of the two doesn't go down, they got a chance. They both went down. The puck came right back to Eklund. And can you believe that given the first period that we had here, we're tied at 3, when the Oilers could have been up 6-1, 7-1, and Ron Hextall held them in long enough for Pelle Eklund, number 9 of the Flyers, to notch yet another playoff goal. Tocchet at this stage of the replay has already dumped it back into Eklund. Brian Propp is the forward they have back on the point. Now, Fuhr is unable to control that rebound. If he controls that, that nullifies it. But Propp has a good shot. Mike Keenan said, I want him out there. He causes goals. causes problems for the opposition when I get my big shooter back there, and that's why I put Brian Propp back there.
Krushelnyski and Ron Sutter have been handed rubbing minors coincidentally. Will not affect manpower on the ice. They come at 12:48 as Brad Marsh angles one that kicks off the cage to be played by Randy Gregg. Rolled around for Anderson. Kick hoping for a play to Ruotsalainen, but now has to work it away himself and has trouble. Mellenby stepped into by Gregg. Then along it comes to Lindsey Carson. Carson shouldered hard and carried off by Gregg, but still they work. It is Nilsson off the stick of Zezel and retrieved by Kjell Samuelsson for the drop back in. 6:40 to go. Second period. 3-3 tie as Zezel is wedged along by Ruotsalainen. Samuelsson in way deep to try to help out. Don Koharski blows the whistle to stop the clock, and a faceoff will occur near Grant Fuhr. There you see Doug Crossman at the Philadelphia bench.
And we overworked the word momentum. The Flyers now have contained after coming back and tying, and their defensemen are even pinching in. They're really a marvel of positive thinking. And Mike Keenan said, I can't do anything more. When they were down 3-0 the other night in the Spectrum and came back, and Mike Keenan said, I can't do anything more than remain positive. He said, it's the same now. All I can do is coach the way I have all year. There's nothing magic about it, and I have to count on my leaders. The Mark Howes, the Brad Marches, and the Dave Fruins, guys like that to pull the Flyers back. And what quality they have. They just will not quit.
It is the Messiers, the Gretzkys, and the Currys that are out right now on a frontline combination for Glenn Sather's Oilers. Huddy took a hard hit from Derek Smith after he let that go to Curry. The drop-in is from Messier. Hextall way out to get it. Swings it around the glass, and out of play it goes. And because it clicked off the glass, there'll be no penalty to Hextall. Philadelphia has to win this game to continue the series. If it does continue, we'll be at the Spectrum in Philadelphia 2 nights from now. Our telecast time, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. We've talked so much about lulling a team into your style of play. How does that all break now here in the second, Bill?
I think as we look up at the Flyers coaches, Billy Barber on the right, Bernie Front next to him, Red Shake, DJ McGuire, 4 of the assistants sitting and watching. I think it's just about time for us to put all the statistics, all the first goals of the game, and all of the numbers and put them on a small barge and float them out into one of the oceans. They don't make much sense at times.
Hextall grabs and hangs on. The big stat now is the one hanging on the $1 million center ice scoreboard. 3-3 with 5:50 to go in the second. And a 3-time Coach of the Year, each time in a different league. John Muffler, American League, the Central, and the Eastern.
And you know, he said last year when he was questioned after the Oilers had been knocked out, and people would come to him, writers, people in the media, they would say to John Muffler, you have the best talent. What happened? And he said, you know, if I remember correctly, it's not the team with the most talent. It's the team that plays the best as a team.
The center of the screen there just a moment ago was Ted Green. You were checked by him a few times? You remember?
Yeah, the first game I played against the Bruins, I went into the corner with Ted Green and didn't wear a helmet at the time, came out with a 4 or 5 stitch cut on the top of my head, and nobody saw it happen, including me. No teammates, no officials. I didn't. Ted must have seen it.
McCrimmon along to Tocchet. Coffey forces him further. And Rick Tocchet takes over. We hope you're enjoying this one. Tie game. Must game for Philadelphia. 3-3 here in the second period at Edmonton. Propp along to turn. Jams it deep. Zezel goes back, hooked off by Curry. Tocchet. Down he goes. Puck out in front. Swung away by the falling Charlie Huddy. And it's Coffey off Curry's stick. Retrieved by Mark Howe. Eklund just free from the bench. The Oilers are making a change in shifts themselves. Muni taps on for Tikkanen. And Tikkanen spins it in. He'll come to the bench now. Hunter is out. So also is McTavish. Howe and McCrimmon the defense for Philadelphia. Pass directed by Propp. He'll have to give it one more try, and does for Tocchet, but in the way was McClellan. Dave Hunter shoved off by Howe. It's Chipped further by McClellan, but McCrimmon for Philadelphia misses for Propp.
Well, the Flyers sure have shut down the neutral zone in the last 15 minutes of this game. That's where the zone the Oilers love gathering their momentum, gathering their speed. In the first period, they had no trouble. They were having 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, and breakaways. The Flyers have tightened it up. What a difference it makes. Now they're starting to take it to the Oilers.
Ellenby out doing some hitting. He and Lindsey Carson have been prominent in that role. That's the line that Bill Clement has considered his favorite when it comes to working on the opposition, working on them physically. That's been the line that's done it. And in the one game the Flyers won, they did it offensively as well. Carson, that one poked through by Poulin, but gathered in by Muni. Slides for McClellan, checked by Mellenby, but driven back in by McCrimmon. Shift chains on. Rothman steps out to work on defense with Daigneault. Muni skies one back out. Doug Crossman playing just away from Hunter, over to Daigneault. Clock ticks down to 3:45 to go in the second. Mellenby over to Poulin, has a man breaking Smith. Poulin couldn't control, sliding play by Kevin Lowe.
Well, number 4 for the Oilers got burnt on the goal that Kelly Eklund scored, but Kevin Lowe certainly didn't get burned on that one. Great defensive play. One of the premier shot blockers in all of hockey, and I think we have 2 of them, one on each side. Brad Marsh, number 8 for the Flyers, and number 4, Kevin Lowe for the Oilers. You can see Dave Hunter in pursuit here with Brad McCrimmon trying to finish off his check.
Every man tagging on every man, playing this game carefully. It had a lot of shots in the first period, 16 apiece. In the second, the Oilers have had 8. Philadelphia has had 6. The Flyers have scored 2 goals. Edmonton 1. It was the reverse in the first, thus we're tied at 3. Messier and Craven for the face-off test. That Messier wins. Randy Gregg turns it over to Ruotsalainen. And Ruotsalainen lays one on the stick of Messier. Moving along with Krushelnyski, but he can't even maneuver past the Philadelphia defense, and they just clear it back. Under 3.5 minutes to play in the second period. Nielsen with a pass to Messier. Moving on Brad Marsh. Wrist shot off the stick of Hextall. Another try, and Marsh got in the way. Craven for the Flyers dumps it back off to Derek Smith. Cross-ice pass to Marsh. He steps ahead with Sinisalo. It's right now 2-on-2. The drop to Sinisalo, and Sinisalo's shot went wide. Had very little room to get one on goal. And so the pass had to be off the board, seemingly, to get any kind of flow continuing. Eklund turning. Shift change continues now. They have Propp and Tocchet, the wingers for Pelle Eklund, and Eklund has been involved in all 3 Philadelphia goals. Marsh puts it into the glove of Messier, who just drops one back down. This one will squib on Hextall, so there'll be no icing. Hextall rips it back around on his backhand. Samuelson has some trouble with it, and it's brushed further by Curry to Gretzky. Looks to the slot. Tikkanen moving in. Kicks at it, and it went wide. Was trying to control, but couldn't. Gretzky off Brad Marsh. Samuelson chops at it, but Tikkanen there. Ridden off by Samuelson. It is Tocchet spinning it back out to center ice. Charlie Huddy for Edmonton gives it back across to Curry. Returns to Huddy. And he sent it out of play. Too much bevel on the stick, and the clock stops with 2:07 left in the second period of a 3-3 tie. Tocchet and Jari Kurri having words.
You know, there might be one statistic we shouldn't sit on the barge and send out just yet. Perhaps when this game is over. This one will change before it's over. Both teams have 11-0 records in the playoffs when they score 4 or more goals in a game. And it is now 3-3.
Very top of your screen, Wayne Gretzky's father, Walter. And there is the son who wore number 9 in admiration for Gordie Howe until he wound up in Sault Ste. Marie in the juniors, and 9 was taken. It's been 99 ever since. On now McCrimmon, but it's given up to Huddy. Misses for Curry. Puck taken now by Howe. In the final minute 50 of the second period, Philadelphia has come back marching. Outplayed in the first, but they've tied it. A shot by Coffey is wide. Mark Howe swings it around for Mellenby, who just allows it to go further. No icing here. So Paul Coffey goes back, and meanwhile, Ron Sutter Sutter being tended to by Muni. Outlet pass comes to Gretzky. Gretzky wheeling in, has Tikkanen breaking. Still Gretzky controls. Last one. Oh, and that one blocked off in front. Pass misses for Mellenby. Well, we have a stoppage of play, and Don Koharski may take a pair of players again.
He sure will. He'll take Curry and Derek Smith. They had a jousting session going behind the plate. It started right behind the net and didn't stop until Koharski called it. I think Smith might have got the better of it. Watch Gretzky do his little turn up here, right around in a circle. Let the flow get back to the net. Now he'll isolate Doug Crossman one-on-one. You see him looking right. He was looking over to the right side of the ice as if he was going that way. Cut back left. Was able to free himself up for the shot. And you know, we talk about adjustments. Mike Keenan tonight is using 6 defensemen. It's the first time in the playoffs that we've seen him use 6 defensemen. Of course, Mike will never tip his hand. We can never find that out from him the day of the game. He wants to catch everybody by surprise. He's got Brad Marsh playing with Doug Klotzman. They're the other pair, the third pair. Or at least he's got Brad Marsh playing with Samuelson. Tonight he has Doug Klotzman with J.J. Daigneault, and they're taking a pretty regular rotation. You wonder why. We'll have to ask him after the game. He's a real tough guy to get information out of the day of the game.
A slash to Curry, a slash to Derek Smith. 5 minors apiece, no majors apiece in the game. As on comes Sinisalo. Beats one in front, it's off Craven and wide. Muni tried to knock it down, but it bounced off Craven instead. 1 minute to go in the second period. Mark Howe flips one for Sinisalo. Lowe and Krushelnyski converge, and now it's Howe trying to move it along. Up kick further. Pozar battles with 2 flyers, Craven and Sinisalo. Turning with it is Krushelnyski, but that one shoveled harmlessly to Poulin. Poulin wraps further. It comes to Sinisalo. As a man breaking, it's Craven, but he's very leisurely doing so, and then takes the drop pass in. Onside play, but the Oilers started back, and here's Messier moving in. Messier off Crossman, and it's swung away by Hextall. Nielsen to Messier. Looks to the slot. Feeds for Craig, and it's knocked away. Good defensive maneuver by Brad Mars. Ruotsalainen in the final 15 seconds of the second period. On now comes Anderson. A shot tipped out of play by Mars. Oh, are you enjoying this? We are. 9 seconds left in the second. The game tied.
I wonder what Chico Resch is thinking about. Looking up at the clock. Something should happen to Ron Hextall, whether he falters or an injury happens. That's the man that comes in to replace Hextall. And the man behind the man in blue is Rush Cup, Andy Mold.
Well, Mark Messier, when he steams down the wing, everyone slides forward on the seat.
Look how far back in Doug Crossman is trying to defend. He just got a piece of it. Crossman did with the back of his left skate. Otherwise, Messier is home free in front of Hextall.
9 seconds left in the period. Both teams had 16 shots in the first. The 2 teams combined have had 16 here in the second.
See Ron Sutter there getting the signal straight with Brad Mars. It's a key draw. 9 seconds to go in the period. Now, he went ahead with it there. He has to be telling Mars, I'm going ahead with it. If I miss it, Messier's coming right at you.
The siren goes. The second period is history. And now Ruotsalainen rushing across the way with Zezel. And Don Koharski quickly comes in to gesture the teams to their dressing room. Crossman and Eklund for Philadelphia, McSorley for the Edmonton Oilers, and we are 3-3 after 2.
Got to be positive vibes in the Flyers locker room. They won that period, so they're even. Oilers won the first, Flyers won the second. If the Flyers win the third, they're going back to the Spectrum.
More coming from the Northlands Coliseum in just a moment. 40 minutes up, 40 minutes down.